Cobi, who are you and what do you do?
My name is Cobi Jones. I'm a former professional soccer player. Now I am part of the LA Galaxy organization as where I played and continue to support this game at all levels.
What's the first thing you do when you wake up?
First thing actually that's interesting that I do when I wake up, I probably now at my age, I try to work on my mobility, a variety of mobility moves.
You're raised in LA. What is the most LA thing about you?
The most LA thing about me is that I'm not always concerned about having to go to the beach.
What do you remember most about your first cap ever for the MSNT?
I think what I remember the most about the first cap is the fact that with all the convoluted things, no one's really sure which one was my first cap. But I think it's a game in 92, 93, right around there. And just being with all my buddies that came through the Olympic team, I think that's what I remember the most. It was a fun time.
When did you realize, whoa, I'm actually a pro soccer player now?
I think I really realized I was a pro soccer player when I moved over to England and started playing in the Premier League at Coventry City.
1994 World Cup. What is the first image that pops into your head?
The walkout for the stadium at Stamford Stadium when we were playing against Brazil. You know, that was our big match on the 4th of July, and it's burned into my brain.
Describe the LA Galaxy in 3 words.
Winners, OGs of LA, and winners.
Who was your soccer idol growing up?
For me growing up, my soccer idol, it switched, through, I still held both of them, but it was Pele, and then as Maradona came onto the scene.
What was your pregame ritual, if you had one?
My pregame ritual was very interesting. I always wanted to be the last one out of the locker room, and I would always have a piece of gum that I would get, right after we did the anthems and everything. I get from our trainer, Raul, and I get the water from Raul, chew my gum, get the water, and I'd spray Raul right before the game started.
What song was always on your warm-up playlist?
I didn't have a particular song for warm-up. I just loved whatever R&B and hip-hop was going at the time. I used that as my pump-up music to get ready for the games, even though, over 70-80% of the team didn't like it.
What game day snack was non-negotiable?
Game day snacks for me, I would say it's more like the routine. I would always have like the eggs, toast, and to really start the day out, some type of vegetables, tomatoes or something like that. But I kept it simple. You don't want to eat too much.
Craziest away game atmosphere that you ever experienced?
Oof. Can I ask a question back on that? Do you want away game atmosphere or the most dangerous? Away game, just in general, it's always, going to Azteca Stadium in Mexico. I think that was probably one of the craziest as on the national team. When you walk into that stadium an hour and a half before the game and it's already crowded, there's already a buzz, and you see effigies hanging from the rafters, with American players with your number, hanging down. That was pretty intense and fun, to be quite honest.
If you could replay one match with fresh legs, which would it be?
Oof. One match with fresh legs, geez. I'm sorry, it's more than one. Any of the finals that I lost. I want to go back and have a redo.
Who is the most skilled player you've ever played with?
I would say the most skilled player that I played with would have to be Tab Ramos. I think he was fantastic and didn't get the due credit. Even though a lot of people say how great he was, I don't think people realize how special he was. And against, I would say it was Ronaldinho. He was, as we all know, out of this world.
Who was the most annoying defender to face?
Jeff Agus. I played with him, had him on my team at times, but going against him, he's one of those defenders where if he had the ball and you touched him, he'd flop over and the referees would give him the call every single time.
What's the best trash talk you've ever heard on the field?
The best trash talk I've ever heard on the field was from me to others.
What is your reaction when someone calls you a legend?
My reaction is that it's hard to comprehend that because you just think of yourself as yourself, and your kids always remind you that you're not a legend.
Has a fan ever come up to you with something wild to sign? And if so, what was it?
Yes, they have. The wildest thing that I have signed was a woman's calf. And the next day, she showed me the tattoo that she got of my signature on her leg.
Who do you think is the best U.S. men's player right now?
Best U.S. men's player right now, I think, there's quite a few, but between the ones that I'm looking at, 2 or 3, I would say you got to give credit to Pulisic and what he's done with his career and how he's continued to excel and level up.
Do players have it easy now or just louder critics?
I would say that within the U.S., it depends what you mean by easier now, but within the U.S., I would say in most of the areas, it's easier now, just as far as the field conditions, the understanding of the game, the acceptance of the game. And with that comes, more criticism. So, if you can't choose when you want to be famous, so that's what it's all about. If you get more, there's more expected of you.
What's one rule in soccer you would love to change?
Now, this is always interesting. The rule in soccer that I would love to change, and they just put this in a few years ago, is how they don't call the offsides right away, even if the linesman sees that it's clearly offsides, they let it play out. For me, that can cause so many different issues and injuries, because then all of a sudden if the defenders have to rush back, they're sprinting at full pace and it's a panic, or they're sliding and they're doing emergency defending, and I always think someone's going to get injured in that type of situation, and they'll put the flag up once the ball goes backwards or something like that, and it's a little frustrating. Put the flag up right away, just make the call and we deal with it.
You've played in 3 World Cups. What's one thing the cameras never capture?
I think when you're talking about World Cups, what the cameras never capture is like the family dynamic, and by the family dynamic I mean it's amongst the players and the families of the players interacting with one another during that whole time, because it's tough, man, because everybody wants to play, so you got a lot of stuff happening that people don't talk about, that mum's the word, and it could be, if anyone can get people to open up about those times, man, you'd have a hit show.
Who do you text when something crazy happens in a match?
Oh, I text a few different people. I have like 3 different sources, one that's in the media, one that's works within the Galaxy, and then one that's a former teammate that's overseas.
If you could have dinner with any teammate, past or present, who's at that table?
With any one teammate, I would always pick my roomie, Ernie Stewart. He's like the head at PSV right now, but it's always a good time and an interesting, open and honest conversation.
A statue outside the stadium forever. What was your reaction when you got that call?
Well, it was a surprise. They did a surprise announcement, and it's on video, so everyone can see the reaction. It was a bit of shock with the situation where you realize it's happening. You always want something like that to actually have it, come about. It's hard to put into words, but it was definitely shock, first and foremost.
If you could whisper one message into the ear of a kid walking past your statue, what would you say?
Hey, that's me.
What's your hidden talent that no one knows about?
Oh, I'm very good at old school video games, especially Halo.
What's the key to being a great teammate?
I think a key to being a great teammate is understanding that everybody's trying. No one on the team is going out there just to try to mess up and trying to lose the game. It's about understanding, and through that understanding, trying to better your teammate, and with that base, just realizing it's the rising tide lifts all boats. If you can get that across to the entirety of your team, that's when I think special things happen. You create opportunities to go far.
If you could give one piece of advice to every youth player, what would it be?
Advice I give to a youth player is find your place. Keep going. And what I mean by that is I'm a perfect example. I was cut from multiple teams. I was a walk-on at UCLA. There's a lot of people that didn't think I was going to do it. You've got to find your place. You've got to find the coach that likes you, because the coach that may not like you right now may not matter, because if you go to another team, that coach could love you. You just have to find your place. So that's what I mean by keep going through that. Find the coach that thinks, you know what, this kid's got something. There's something special there. It's about like finding your spot and learning what you can.
You've won the U.S. men's jersey more times than anyone. What did it mean every time you pulled it on?
Every time I wore the U.S. jersey, there was a sense of pride. That's one thing I hope none of the players that are putting on that jersey ever forget. It's a pride in representing your country, representing your nation. And when you put that on, you'll see there are other teams. Other teams have pride in their country and their nation, and it's a battle when you're stepping out on the field. So for me, I think half of, probably more than half of the result of every game depends on who's going to fight harder and who has more pride in that badge that they're wearing.
What's your favorite piece of soccer slang?
Put it in the mixer. All my old schoolers will know that one.
Do you have a soccer superstition?
My soccer superstition, I think I said it before, but my soccer superstition was when I was playing, I had to be the last person, in line on the walkout. Yeah, every single time. It's a little bit of being on that wing where you're on the flank near the sideline. You can see everything. It's almost the same thing on that when you're at the end. You can see everything. You can see the opponents, everyone that's lined up, and see on the other team who's ready to play and who isn't. What's
your guilty pleasure TV show?
My guilty pleasure TV show? I would say it's not a particular show, but it's Netflix. I just go on there and surf through Netflix and see, what's this? It's some show from South Korea that I haven't seen before. Let's try it out. Let's see what it's all about. That's my guilty pleasure, is surfing Netflix.
Who do you think is the next big U.S. breakout star?
Next big breakout star. I'm very interested to see how Ruben Ramos goes. He's a young player that was on the U20 national team, scoring goals. I think he was 17 when he got there, 18 when he finished with the U20s before, and he was scoring at that age. So I think he has a great opportunity to do something special on the national team.
If you had one more 90 minutes, one stadium, one jersey, one rival, what's the dream match?
Okay, I don't know this stadium. I know that it's the '02 World Cup. I know it was the game against Germany. I know it was the game where we had the corner and Greg Berhalter hit the header that was going in the goal, and the German player used his hand and knocked it out, and there was no VAR at the time, so the ref didn't call it, but you could see it plain and clear. It should have been a goal. I'd like to do that game over, have a repeat of that one, because that was our opportunity to continue going forward, in the World Cup and getting farther than we've got in quite some time.
What's your rating of the sit?
I think it's fantastic. This is great where you can just sit down and just give all your information. It's a very casual, relaxing setting. What's going on here?